Hello to everyone around the globe, and welcome to our fifth annual event on the fascinating topic of typography and graphic communication, themed TypoGraphic Days 2020. Every year, we invite distinguished designers who have made a remarkable contribution in the aforementioned fields to present and discuss their work in the context of the concept, the visualization process, as well as the practical implementation of their projects in real life. The unfortunate circumstances of the pandemic situation this year allow us to share this event outside the Cypriot boundaries, reaching wider audiences from all around the world. Today, we are really honored to have with us four outstanding designers who have kindly accepted to talk about their design experiences and discuss the role and power of typography and graphic design in society and culture. Allow me also to say that the idea is initiated and organized by the Semiotics, Typography, Graphic and Visual Communication Research Labs in the Department of Multimedia and Graphic Arts at the Cyprus University of Technology. The event is also supported by the Cyprus Association of Graphic Designers and Illustrators, to whom we are really thankful for their constant support. We hope that you will enjoy our presentations today. We will accept questions and initiate a discussion at the end of all presentations. And on this note, I would like to pass the word on to our first speaker, Reza Abedini, who will talk about the question of origin. Reza Abedini is an Iranian artist and graphic designer. He has been continuously working as an artist, designer, educator, and researcher in typography, graphic design, and visual arts since 1999, simultaneously working in and concentrating on diverse fields. Living and working in Iran, Lebanon, and the Netherlands, in addition to his practice, Abedini is an instructor in graphic design at the American University of Beirut and teaches various courses and workshops in several countries. Reza Abedini, we are grateful to have you here, and we look forward to listen to what is the question of origin. The screen is yours.
Hi everyone. It's actually truly pleasure to be here to be part of this event. And I would like to thank, before starting, everyone who put all of this effort together to do this festival event in general, especially in this situation that all of us, we are in a kind of group depression about the situation. So such an event would give us a little bit of hope again to think of life goes on and we can keep working. So I thank you all for doing this together. Thank you so much. So I actually, before starting, I just need to explain a little bit about my presentation, because as you know, so I'm Iranian. I mostly work with bilingual applications for, I mean, whatever I do, I need to think about two different languages at the same time. So that's why I need to a little bit talk about the background of the situation for everyone. And choosing this title for my presentation also goes back to the subject. So can we go further, please? Yes. So here actually I started because anyway I'm an educator, and as a teacher always you think about how you can talk about things in a way that it's understandable for everyone, especially for the students. So it's been many times in all art schools we talk about what is origin. When we say something is original, or when we say something is not really original, what we mean by that, because it's very subjective and it's really hard to explain exactly what we mean. But very simple way of talking about it is to go back to the simple meaning of the words by itself. So that's why I usually explain to them when we say origin, what we mean by that. So as you can see in this is a very simple dictionary. When you put the word origin on it, what you get as a first or second meaning is something that it starts, beginning, and it has word genesis, which is a little bit of bibliothek words, as you know. And Genesis talks about something that didn't exist before, and you brought it to this word. If you go to the next slide. Yeah. So Genesis has really close meaning and relation with the creation as well. So also creation somehow means something that didn't exist before, and you brought it to this word from nothing, basically. So what I'm trying to say here is actually sometimes many of us we try to design something, and when we finish the design, we don't realize actually we're doing something based on existing statics or existing way of thinking about something. This is, I don't really consider this as an creation or originality. So this makes everything very, very hard and complicated, because it's been many years that a human being in Earth is working and thinking and creating stuff, and it might be very, very hard to brought something totally new based on this definition to this word. But that's how I think creation would happen. Otherwise, we're just making variations of existing stuff. Next, please. So on the other hand, all designers like me who actually born and brought up in different parts of the world, which is not necessarily part of the Western world, we have lots of issues in relation to identity and how we should proceed working, how we should think about the process of making design and keep our own identity somehow, because this is something that's born with you and you need to deal with it anyway. So always we have this question, global versus native. So how you can be native and at the same time talk with the other people in different parts of the world. So next. So instead of word global, which somehow it's not really the word I prefer to use when I'm talking about other nations, I prefer international, because international, it means we are talking in the same level with each other. As you can see in this word, in the international, you have the word national, which means nation again. So it means somehow between different nations instead of melting pot. So I don't really like the idea of putting everything together and mixing it and then try to say this is something that everyone can understand it. So we need to try to do something that it is local, but at the same time, we need to reach to the kind of language that you can talk to everyone at the same time. Yes, so yeah, usually I pick this as an example. As you know, this is a very beautiful, famous painting of Hokusai from Japan. And in this image, what we see, it's totally painting that it's very clear what we're looking at, and at the same time, without knowing much about what is Japanese painting, you get this feeling. If you have a little bit of knowledge about history of art, visual arts in other countries, easily would understand this is from Far East. If you don't know exactly Japan, but you can feel that this is not from, let's say, South Europe or America or even South America or North America. So this is an example that shows us that you can be local and at the same time talk about stuff that's understandable for everyone. versus next slide. If you see the next slide. So these are the brands that we all know, and to me, actually, most of those brands are something that nowadays we call global, but actually they created based on different visual language, which is not belongs to everyone. It's really it's based on something that they call it international, but it's not necessarily international. It's something that the business language somehow you need to follow with that, because it's based on business rules and regulations, and necessarily doesn't talk to everyone unless you try to learn this language. So next, please. In opposite of the previous slide, we have actually lots of Western designers that try to do the same thing. So they try to make a visual language that it would work for everyone, such as this one, which is a poster design from Swiss designer Rosemary Tisi, which would work, which would very clearly you understand what you're looking at, and at the same time, she is trying to keep the visual language that we're all familiar with, which is famous as a Swiss style. So this to me is a visual kind of visual language that it's international, but at the same time has a local feel to it. Next, please. So this is an example of something that I was claiming before. So circle by itself is just circle, and it's very unique for everyone. Everyone would understand what is the circle, but the way that designers they're treating the circle in the different ways, it gives the kind of identity to this basic shapes. If you look at the next slide. So this is the poster from a Japanese designer, that you can see the circle in this poster, which is still a circle, but what you see in the end, it makes a very, very clear Japanese atmosphere in the poster. And this is the example of how we can treat a circle in a different way, not changing it, just use it as it is, but by putting it in a different position and give it the different color to it, you can make this Japanese atmosphere. Next, please. And this is from Joseph Muller-Brockman poster. This is a poster for music. Again, you see the circle here, but this circle here is totally Swiss circle now. And this actually, it's very interesting phenomena for me, how you can treat a same shape by putting it in a different position and situation to give a different feeling, completely different feeling. Next, please. And this is also the Russian circle. So as you know, this piece actually is a very famous poster. And as you can see, again, by putting different colors and using it in a different way, we have now a different kind of circle. So by putting these three examples, I just wanted to say, just by treating the circle in a different way, and think about how you can keep the identity, you can create something original, but at the same time, keep some kind of local visual language in your work. Next, please. Actually, I'm talking about these issues because this is the things that usually we are dealing with. I mean, personally, I'm dealing with it a lot. So the big question always is, when I'm designing something, I'm asking myself, should I do something similar to what I learned at the school at graphic design, which is totally Western education system, or I need to think about what is my visual tradition, for example. This is one of my work actually that I found it with circles, so I designed it many years ago. but I just put it next to those examples to show like how I can treat the circle in a different way to give a different feeling. So this is posted for an exhibition for one of my friends, and I try to use the circle in a different way. Next, please. And this is another example. This is an invitation card for an exhibition. So I use the circle, but this time I get some inspiration from old Persian ceramics. Usually they have lettering in them. So I get some inspiration from that to create this invitation card. To just show you some examples of how we can have a circle in a different shape and forms. Next, please. Yeah, here quickly I want to show you some of my inspirations, because it's very important to know. Again, I'm talking about my situation as someone who born and studied in a different schools. What we learn at school, it was totally similar to other schools in the world, like basic design, color, theory, all of those things. But at the same time, because I was living in this country, I was familiar with lots of other kind of visuals that deeply had impact on me. And this made me, actually, sometimes I make a joke and I said, I'm a kind of creatures that they live in the sea and the land at the same time, because all the time I need to think about, from one hand, I need to talk to all the people in the world, but at the same time, I have lots of background that I cannot really ignore them simply. So these are some of the inspirations, and you can see how different they are and how they can come together in one person, such as me, for example. So this is one of the really old Iranian painters. He was a journalist, painter, and illustrator. He lived almost 200 years ago, and he's one of the pioneers to making newspapers in Iran. And these are some of his work. Can we go further? It's fine. Yes, this is his newspaper. It is designed with lithographic, and this is some of his paintings. Next, please. We can go fast. Is it just another painting? So the next person is a very famous calligrapher. As you can see, he died in 1925, and he is one of my really biggest inspirations. He was a calligrapher. He actually invented lots of new way of calligraphy in Persian calligraphy in general. You can see some of his work after this slide. Yes, next. Yeah. Also, I was when I was young. Actually, I was 24. I was really has a dilemma to stay in the art or go to the philosophy. So I was really interested in philosophy, and I really wanted to go back, completely change my major and go to philosophy and study philosophy. So Friedrich Nietzsche was very, very important figure for me. And the reason is because the best way to understand the Western society and Western culture, you need to find out the best critic of it. And Nietzsche is one of the most famous philosophers in 19th and 20th century that has this kind of critics about his own culture. So for me, reading Nietzsche is not just a reading philosophy, also it shows me about the situation and I'm in it. Next, please. Yeah, we can go faster anyway. So some of the painters, I mean, I'm just showing you to see the combination, weird combination of different people that I had lots of impact from them. So this is Egon Schiele. You know him. He's a very, very great painter and graphic designer, to my opinion. Iko Tanaka, from the other hand, the Japanese graphic designer, who are one of the pioneers of using the visual tradition in his completely contemporary and modern posters and graphic design in general. This is some of his work. Some filmmakers, so I was very also fascinated by cinema. I really wanted to make movie a lot, so I tried a few times, and I learned a lot from, for example, Tarkovsky, about how to create images and how important it is to, when you make images, how you need to think about and care about every details in your frame. Next, please. We can go faster, so it's okay. Yeah, these are some of the still frames. Roman Polanski is another figure for me that has lots of, the way he's telling stories, for example, for me is very, very, very important. Most of the things I do usually, it's based on narrative. So I learned a lot from him how to tell the story in one frame, although he was making a movie. But it was very, very inspirational for me. Next. Yeah. And this is one of the Iranian illustrators who actually died 10 years ago. He is a key figure actually for many of Iranian artists, because he was the person who started finding a big and interesting link between traditional visual in Iran and contemporary art somehow. So because always, as I'm saying, always these questions was there for all the artists, how we can be let's say contemporary, but in the same time stay tuned by our own culture and visual culture as well. So he was one of the most important figures in our visual culture, contemporary visual culture. Yes, next. Can
Maybe there
Sorry.
is a technical.
I can't see the. Okay, we are back. Okay, so yeah, we can go faster. This is just, I'm sure all of us, we know all those peoples. I just wanted to put together to see that this mixture of different inspirations for me, from Iran and from Far East designers, Roman Sislevich, for example, we all know him as a designer. And okay, here, yeah, okay, can we stop here, please? Yes. So these are my very early work when I start working. So I just put them here to show the influence that I got from the examples I showed you. For example, using a figure and thinking about type and mixing them and try to find a solution how to deal with two different languages in the same time and make a good piece between them was one of the major problems that I faced from the beginning. I mean, this is the point. I mean, if I compare myself with someone else, let's say anyone in Europe, so the only things, I mean, this is not a simple things I'm telling, but designers in Europe, usually they just need to think about creating new type and finding a right typeface or position for the typography. But for me, was always started by thinking how I'm going to make a piece between these two totally different writing systems. One is totally organic, comes from calligraphy, still is not developed enough. And the other one has a long history, which is the Roman type. And we have lots of choice and it's perfectly done. And now you need to make a composition out of these two different languages and put them together and make a composition that it would work together. So these are the early work that I was dealing with this subject. Yeah, it's a poster for an exhibition. As you can see, again, in all of them, always I need to try to find a way to make this connection somehow. Yeah, we can go faster. These are very, very early work. Actually, this is my first printed posters. These are so these are good examples to tell you. Actually, these are the time that when I start designing posters, for example, I didn't really know how to deal with this problem. So one of the solutions I find out is to keep them separately, design the Persian part, and try to add the Latin and typography as a secondary, which wasn't really a good idea, especially for international events. But that was the things that at the time I could find out how to deal with the situation. So we can go further. Actually, these are my different trial to see how we can create both writing system at the same time to ignore this problem, because always you had this clash between these two writings. So for solving this problem a bit deeply, I tried to go back to our own visual culture, which is mostly bookmaking and of writings, which is calligraphy again, and images and space together. This was very, very important to learn from them how to deal with the project almost 3-4 years ago in Lebanon, art festival called Tip. So we tried to and pattern then and start and work with it. This is the logo, then this is on the image of the festival. Further, we did
I am afraid we lost the sound, Andreas.
excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, now very
Hello?
clear. Yes?
Sorry, okay. Yeah. It's okay, yeah. So can we go further, please? Yeah, so I just made the category from the different sources in Iranian culture, Iranian visual culture. So these are the ceramics that I talked before. We have a lots of collection of ceramics from the middle of Iran that most of them, they have amazing writing on them. These are the old ceramics from almost between 400 or 600 years ago. And these are one of the main sources for me to design differently. This is my design, the magazine covers, and this book cover based on the ceramics. And these are the real ceramics I designed for my, I mean, this is a personal project I did, but I tried to get some inspiration from the ceramics. So as you can see, that the point is we are not dealing with finding a solution for how to do the new typeface or design something. Also, we need to find out how to deal with this situation, how we can develop the writing system we have. Actually, these are a series of book covers I designed, again based on piece of calligraphies, different calligraphies. So yeah, further, next please. Yeah, this is the manuscript, writings and calligraphy. This is the old piece. And next slide is my poster I designed based on that piece. It's a series of posters for the exhibition, cultural poster exhibition in Tehran. So I tried to use the calligraphy directly, but in a different format to give a little bit of sense of contemporary to it. And these are all together, they're supposed to be like that in the street. Yeah, as you can see in this series, I'm using calligraphy as they are, but I'm trying to mix it with a different shapes and forms and composition to not just repeat what we had before and make something more contemporary, for example. Next, please. Yeah, this is a great greeting card for New Year, and this is a one page of manuscript, old manuscript, and directly I designed this poster based on that piece. Even the color and everything, I tried to get direct inspiration. This is again old piece. Yeah, this is a manuscript with the decorative writing system, and this is the poster I designed for the exhibition in Germany for event. Yeah, these are different applications. This is a book cover based on, again, the calligraphy. This is a book about process of Iranian poetry. It's divided for the magazines with the typography. These are the old documents, actually, Iranian documents, and this is the spread for the magazine I designed based on those documents. Again, this is an old piece, and this is a book cover I designed by getting some inspiration from old pieces. Yeah, yeah, we can go further a bit. These are all based, as I'm saying. Okay, then we are the other category is the paintings. So also we have lots of Persian paintings that they're totally different, as I'm sure you know. This is an example of Persian paintings. What is really important here, actually, for me, is the combination of text and image and how they find a solution for dealing with this problem. And so I tried to see how I can repeat this and make it possible to use it in a contemporary way. So this is the book cover, spine and back cover of the book. It's a poster for an exhibition. This is the old piece, actually. This is a content page of the very old book. This is also the old piece. And this is the cover I designed for the encyclopedia, Persian encyclopedia. As the book tried to again get some inspiration from painting by putting some boxes and putting text inside the boxes, not really mixing with the images. And photography also. So from almost the 50 ago, lots of photography that shows kind of experience they're interested in. So some examples time. And if you go further, yes, these are just photography from 150 years ago, and these are my designs. So mostly I try to learn from their composition and also how to involve the typography within this human figure, because it was very, very important and very like main kind of approach for the Iranians when they had the photography. So in this series, as you can see, I usually use the human body and mix it with the typography. Very direct, always they are in the center of the page and surrounded by typography somehow. Even when I don't really use the human figure, so I use this kind of composition to imitate kind of that background that I had in my mind. It's a poster for concert, music concert, a CD, and this is for exhibition. I think my time's done.
Actually,
is it?
This is I cannot stop you. This is excellent. We're enjoying this, and I think we have.
You're so kind. I think we finished.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for that. I mean, it was a bit mixed up because I couldn't really run myself the images, but I hope it was useful.
Very useful, very inspiring and mesmerizing, Reza. I think the way you handle the Persian typography with the Latin is a talent that can only be inspiring for everyone that sees your work. And it's a shame we don't have this live and speaking in a room with a lot of students and audiences to actually have a more interactive conversation. Thank you very much. We move on now with our next speaker from Slovakia, Peter Javorik, who will talk about type of posters and posters. Peter Javorik works most of his time as a lecturer in the Faculty of Industrial Design in the Academy of Fine Arts in Krakow. But as a freelancer, he also commutes between Bartyov and Košice, which is his hometown. He studied at the Faculty of Arts in the Technical University of Košice, where he finished his master and accomplished doctoral studies in the field of visual communication at the Department of Design. Peter Javorik, we look forward to see how do type of posters differentiate from posters. The screen is now yours. I'm afraid we cannot hear you, Peter. Maybe your microphone is off.
We can hear you, Peter. Please continue.
I cannot hear him myself. I don't know if the rest of the people can hear him.
My name is Peter Javorik, and I will show you a little bit of my work. In this presentation, I'm going to show my work mostly dedicated to posters. These posters was created for Eco Poster Competition in 2010. The topic was Water is Life. And these posters are from a large series of posters created for Barrio Wandering. Selected ones are from year 2012. Left one represent Saint Anna and relate to the church named after her. You can notice Gothic window inside of the letter A. The second one represents the topic of water and waves around the city of Barrio. There is symbol of waves inside letter V, which stands for water in Slovak language. In the next series of posters, you will see my design for competition Poster Quadrennial Barrio 2017. I was head of this project, organizer and graphic design on this event. As first, I designed basic symbol made of 3 letters PQB. Secondly, the full alphabet and number were created. All typography respect the grid system of the basic symbol. You can see colorful posters, the opening invitation posters and posters design summer. The posters for all additional activities like workshops and exhibition. Many posters like following ones, vote, exhibition and jury poster exhibition use the template of PQB symbol and display initials and specific event. This is picture of the exposition Poster Quadrennial Barrio 2017 held in Old Bastion in Barrio. In the next selection, I will show my series of typographical posters. It has been created since 2016 for Gallery Stairs in Akademii Sztuk Pięknych in Krakow in Poland. The posters were dedicated to specific exhibition. During the school year, there are about 10 events, like student and teacher works, masters or bachelor diplomas, competitions, or other events. Here you can see posters, master's diplomas 2017 and 2018. Left posters is next to the design, right, safety first. Here is bachelor diplomas 2018 and 2019. And here is teacher's exhibition, Barbara Vidlak, coat of arms, and City of Bardio selection from exhibition. Here is student workshop Harenda and teacher's exhibition Miloš Pobiedinski confrontation. This photo is from recent exposition City of Bardio, which I curated in Krakow. This is another series of typography posters that I like to make very much. My aim is to find part of a human and woman body when I play with letters I still work on more conception. I call it body typo. These posters were designed for my individual exhibition. On both posters are my initials, PJ, in different formation. The first poster symbolized looking to the future. It was made for the exhibition in Lodz in Poland, where I showed posters series for gallery stairs. On the second posters are letters PJ in positive display and letter N is in negative display. Poster title is New Formation of Contemporary Poster. The exhibition was held in Hniezdne in Slovakia. I present my different cultures posters. From the following two posters, first was devoted to 150th anniversary of Maxim Gorky. The second posters, one was designed for jazz poster exhibition in Gliwice in Poland, named Faces of Jazz. In 2019, I designed this series of typo poster made for Bardio Wandering that I mentioned before. Periodical activity focused on getting to know the city of Bardio. I started to create my own typo. I tried to find more word inside another word, then highlight by color. If you know Matryoshka principle, like art in art, you will get my point. I have used this type of font a few other culture event and competition like. First is Cusco Inca Empire Peru, and second Hakka impression in China. And also Woodstock 50th anniversary and posters Seagull from Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. My own typography, similar to last ones, but with number it also on these posters. Left is 30 years of Velvet Revolution for 98, and second is 90 years of Flot Corporation in Poland. The next and last selection of my presentation show series of poster titled logotypes. This set was displayed on the exhibition in Gallery Stairs and published in a paper catalog. You are looking at the photo from the exhibition, which was in April 2017. Since then, I created new logotype, always as a logo and posters. I plan to make an exhibition of new logotypes, poster songs again. Following logo posters are from the series Typo, and all of them are actively in use. First is logo designed for IT company named localhost. In symbol there is double colon and 1, which is symbol for localhost in PC terminology. Number 1 can be understood as small letter L as well. Second logotype stands for culture organization K13. Under this head run many culture actions in Košice city. Hashtag Dědictvo, or heritage in English, is visual communication project for National Museum in Krakow, in Poland. Inside of hashtag there is a letter D. Cyan hashtag itself presents letter H, which stands for heritage. Next logo is logo escape game created for popular logic game. Use look besides letter A. It is firstly closed and opened when the game is accomplished. This is a logo for wooden handmade product made by René Ivancho. R in circle stands for original product and also hidden small letter I inside. The second one is a logo for Bardejovské divadlo, Bardejov Theatre in translation. There are letter B and D hidden this symbol, but you can also see the face in the mask here. THT Terra Hypernet is logotype for company that deal with cryptocurrencies, and Freedom is a company that works in architecture field. Vini Mini is a logotype for children chorus. Letters and dots represent children holding their hands. And RMPK is logo for culture activities for youngers for Prešov city. These both logotype are designed for culture institution. First one called Klubovňa, the club in Bardejov, and second name called Centrum Kultury Podgórza in Krakow in Poland. Left is Lokoleko, is the company with logistic character. And next to is logotype GA3 is logo for Gallery Hniezdne Free. It is a small private gallery in Slovakia. Logo 20 years of UNESCO was designed for 20th anniversary of Bardejov being a World Heritage. Smile is a bonus. Next logotype is IFE, is Institute of Forest Ecology in the Slovak institution oriented of forest nature. Collegium Mysle is an institution established in Nižná Myšľa, site of historical excavation. And next to logotype is Ústav slovenského jazyka, Department of Slovak Language, aimed to research and control of Slovak language. Logo for an archaeological open-air museum focus on the research inside of a historical excavation located in Nižná Myšľa. And next to logo type is Aurora Shop, is a logo for market trading textile. From last couple, HRV is typographic logo for Javier company dealing with marketing and economy. HAKA is logotype for Hotel Academy in Košice, high school focused on hospitality and gastronomy. On the picture in speech form the opening my exhibition, you can see Professor Vladislav Pluta from Poland, who is significant person of posters and typo posters. Next to is my college artist Gabi Buzek. This is exhibition catalog. No, cover exhibition catalog. And here is last picture from catalog for the exhibition and closing my presentation. Thank you very much.
fascinating, intellectual, and inspiring presentation. Your work is very minimalistic, and usually this kind of graphic design takes a lot of time to be successful and appropriating visually. So thank you very much. And we can move to the next speaker. I think we might have a small technical problem because I see their screens are lag at the moment. Andreas? Yes, our technician is telling us that the other two presenters will log in again. So bear with us for a while.
Ευρυπίδη, ο Μάριος είναι online.
Okay, μήπως να προχωρήσουμε με τον Μάριο τότε.
Ναι, μέχρι να μπει ο Άγγελος.
Okay. Our apologies for this slight delay and the technical problem. We are coming back and we're going to skip the initial order we set. We will move to our next third speaker from Cyprus, Márιος Καρύστιος, who will talk about reflecting. Márιος Καρύστιος is a graphic designer who has worked in advertising for major brands and as a DJ in bars and clubs for over a decade. His work has been awarded and published in newspapers, magazines, and numerous blogs worldwide, and has exhibited at the National Museum of Contemporary Art in Athens. Márιος Καρύστιος, does the mirror reflect always the truth? The screen is yours.
I'm so happy to be among such inspiring presenters today, and I'd like to thank also everyone who's watching wherever they are. We can't see them, unfortunately. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So hello, and my topic is reflecting. I always like to go back to all the projects and reevaluate, see them from a different perspective, and see what came out of these projects, see them actually as stories and analyze them, see what are the positives and negatives that came out. So I'm going to take you through 4 projects. The first one is the maths classroom. Some years ago, I was talking with a friend of a friend, and she asked me to do her business cards. And you know, when somebody asks you to do the business cards, actually, at least for me, it means, hey man, design me these business cards, and of course, you're a graphic designer, you're a printer also, and you can print this and deliver them to me for like 30 euro. So whenever I hear design me the business cards, I'm like, oh my God, thanks, I don't want. So anyway, this girl today is my wife. So not only I designed the business cards, but also I made the whole branding and a lot more stuff, and for free. And so this is how we started. We used the mathematical symbols in order to do this smiley face, and that was the main logo, which actually was designed in order to give some fun to this, I don't know, dull subject for some people, for a lot of students. And we tried to give color throughout the stationery, and we did a lot of colorful notebooks to give away to the students. And we started to work on the interior. We painted walls, we did geometrical shapes, we printed on wood signs, and we started giving a shape to the whole classroom. We designed a small lounge for the students to relax, and this whole thing would work like a concert. So the students would be able to even come in days that they didn't have classroom and sit down and do their homework or something. And we did a lot of custom stuff ourselves, a lot of chairs, desks, and we tried to give this warmth of the old classroom in a kind of contemporary way, like mix these two. And after we took these pictures, we sent them to some blogs around, and we got a really nice feedback from many big blogs, and we were so happy. Before we started, we had so much publicity, and we were set for doing something really great. So everything was set, and we started waiting for the students. We did some online stuff, some video like this one. And some flyers and posters, and we gave them to the houses around the area, and just waiting for the dozens of students to come. And the first year we had few students, and we were just thinking, okay, maybe next year will work better. So next year we got the students' friends, and it went like this for a couple of years. Then my wife, she had to stop and work at the public school, so we had to leave this project, unfortunately, and we were so sad because we didn't know what to do with all this stuff. And apart from all this money we spent and the time and all the passion and the love, and it was really, really sad to not to know what to do. So my wife came up with an idea one day, if we could make it an Airbnb. So we put a bed, and we put all the stuff that the Airbnb needs, and took again some pictures of everything we did, from the branding and all the interior, and we uploaded on the Airbnb, and it worked really, really well. I mean, it was on for 1 year until the corona, and it had a great response. Everybody liked it, and they were so happy with the interior and the whole concept that it was an old classroom. And actually, we realized how the same interior and the same branding worked in two completely different sectors, and that was the interesting part. How the same thing worked better, to say, in what it wasn't designed for. So at some point I got an email from a guy in Lebanon. He saw my work, an olive oil packaging I did at some point, and he wanted to do some custom olive packaging. And I was like, in the beginning, oh, who is this guy? And that was a weird email because I never worked with somebody from Lebanon. And anyway, we proceeded, and he sent me in the beginning his logo, and okay. And he was, okay, he kind of liked it, and he's like, I have this, and I don't know if you can use it. Anyway, I had to redesign this thing, and I went on with the first idea, which was something like this. He also had an salt along with the olive oil, which it was abandoned in the way. So while we were talking, we noticed that this minimalist olive I put there, and we were talking, and we were thinking together, and he threw the idea, could we do this like a olive shape, olive bottle? I said, I don't know if this is possible, and it should be really, really hard. So I put the things down, we put down the maths. My wife helped a lot because it was really, really hard to understand in which angle it could be, and what the base, the size of it, and how we could print on it, and who's gonna make it, and many, many, many stuff. So after we finalized how the looks of it, I had to find who's gonna make it. So I was searching for a ceramist in Greece and Cyprus. I went through many people, and I found this guy Stelios Laskaris, is a very great ceramist, a really nice craftsman, and a very, very interesting person in Athens. He had a lot of experience before in making ceramic olive oil bottles. So after we spoke, and he saw what we wanted to do, and he agreed with the client, and we proceeded. And I was waiting for his first prototype for some time, and one day he sends me this. He says, Mario, good morning. This is a prototype. How does it look? And I'm like, oh God, I'm fucked. This guy's gonna kill me. This is like a potato. So Anyway, we spoke, and he said, okay, this is the first, and we're gonna make a second and third, and we're gonna make it, don't worry. But okay, when you see this, you understand that this is something's going wrong. As it was the first time I was doing this, and it was a responsibility. So anyway, we made the third and the second and third prototypes, and we went to production. And this is a really, really hard job. You all know everything needs to be done by hand at some point, and there is a lot of stuff through the procedure that you have to check and be careful. And anyway, we finished at some point, and the client paid and was ready to get everything delivered to him. And I was calling Stelios to see when he's going to send them, and Stelios wasn't answering. And he wasn't answering, and he wasn't answering the emails. And I started to worry a lot because a couple of days passed. And I called my friend in Athens and say, can you go and check at his workshop if he's alive, if he left forever, what happened? And he said, maybe we check. I think he has a Facebook, and we kind of spied on his Facebook, and so he was somewhere on a mountain posting photos. So I text him on Facebook. I say, where are you? Like the guy's like he doesn't know what's going on. And he said, okay, don't worry. In a few weeks we'll have everything ready. So everything went. Everything was packed and went to Lebanon, and the client had a very good friend there, a photographer, Roger Mukarzel, great photographer of Lebanon, and he took some nice pictures of the bottles at his house. You see, it looks really, really Mediterranean. I haven't been in Lebanon. I haven't ever met the client, and up to date we still talk to each other. We send messages, and it's a very strange feeling to talk with somebody you never ever met. So we took the pictures and sent them to Panda Awards. In the first year we got the Gold Panda Award. We didn't expect that, and we said, okay, the next year we sent it to Thailand, and we took the first place at the Thailand. And it was really, really a surprise for us, for both me and him. And after this, there was a lot of publicity coming from everywhere. And I was starting getting really, really weird emails like if I sell bottles, or how much is the bottle, or if I can make something that looks the same. And I was replying like, I cannot do something the same. I mean, this guy bought it and he patented it, that's it, it's finished. If you want to do something else, no. If you can do it like a little bit different, not the same. Like, this is impossible. So the funny thing is that up to date, that was the last olive oil project I did. I mean, in some sense, the awards didn't bring any new business. At least in this sector. So the next one is Amos Hotel. At some point I was in Crete on holidays, and one friend told me to visit this hotel Amos in Hania, which is actually like a beach house, a very, very nice place. And the owner, Nikos, is a man of great taste. He loves art, he loves design. You step into the hotel and you see these wonderful chairs and fantastic art from all over the world. And really, really nice place. I'm advertising this now to everybody. So yeah, you see here he has all the weird chairs. And every year he puts something new and never ever stops. So he asked me to do rebranding, and I was thinking about the quote, what to send. if it was too much or not, and I was thinking for some days, and he was calling me to see what happened. So I said, okay, I give him the quote, and he responds in 30 seconds, and he says, give me your bank account, and we proceed. It was really, really quicker than I thought. Anyway, I went through some first ideas. I was trying to decode what this place is, what Amos is. Amos means sand in Greek. And while I was really thinking of this design and the chairs, which is something really, really you cannot miss when you get into the hotel, I came up with this one. And he calls me and he says, hey man, I don't sell chairs by the beach. So I was really changed my mind, and then I went to this approach. Which actually was pieces of sand and thrown somewhere there. And the funny thing is that it was, I did this and I was waiting for a reaction because I was sure that nobody would accept this logo. But he said, okay, this is fantastic. And we moved on and did some more stuff that he wanted for the hotel, the menus and door hangers and the whole thing. I wanted to actually wrap. We printed also on the wall. I wanted to wrap this whole universe and not interfere with it. So I wanted to be as clean as possible on these details. And then we did the website. If anyone wants to check later, the website is like a gallery. It's on the same. It's on the same aesthetics. It doesn't interfere. We took some really nice pictures with a client he has from Condé Nast magazine, and we made a really minimalistic website to cover this, to wrap this universe, as I said. And yeah, we became good friends with Nikos on the way. And at the end, when we finished, he was laughing about how little money he paid for the project. And while I was worrying if the money, if the quote was big, and he was laughing. So in a sense, I thought that there are people that value the work. There are clients at some point in your life that value the work you do, and even if you think that this is too much, they will think this is too little. And one day he sent me a pack at home, and I open it and I find this wallet, this Yves Saint Laurent wallet, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What am I going to do with this? And I call him and I say, why did you send me this wallet? What am I going to do with this wallet? My money is 10 euro. I'm going to put in this, I don't know how much this costs in this wallet. Why didn't you send me the money instead? And that was a joke. We still talk about the wallet story. So around 12 years ago, I think, I was visiting vineyards of Cyprus. I love wine, and I was going to wineries and vineyards in Paphos, Limassol. So I visited this fantastic terroir we have in Paphos. It's called Vouni Panaya. Is above Panaya village, a breathtaking place. Anyone who hasn't been there must go. It's a fantastic place. The nature there is very nice. So I met this really inspiring guy, a very forward-thinking man, Mr. Andreas Kyriakidis, who he's actually, I can say he's my mentor today and a very, very good friend. And he asks me for a rebrand after a couple of years that we met. One day he calls me and he asks me this. And that was a huge project for me for that time. It was a great responsibility to do this whole rebrand for one of the first private winery in Cyprus. And the packaging at that time looked something like this. So I was like, what to do now with this stuff? I mean, how far you can go and where you can go. And anyway, I went with this symbolism of this cat V and the mouflon that you have not seen in any place in Cyprus, is everywhere from from the airlines to taverns to everywhere. But this mouflon is the young one with the short horn. Anyway, I put it up there, and it was kind of symbolizing the younger generation and these big rocks, cliffs they have up there. You see the view from these elevations around 1,100 meters. How fantastic it is. And anyway, this went through the whole packaging, and these bottles became this instantly. And that was, for me, I was really thinking it all the time. While they agreed and we moved on, I was really skeptical if this is too modern and how this could go, because in this kind of products, you cannot see how this will go in a few months. You see it throughout the years. It's not something you can measure really quickly. One day I was at the winery, and there's a guy. He was talking, and he says to me, "I want to talk to you about the new labels." I say, "Okay, yep, I'm all ears." And he's like, "You know, man, I've been in many countries and I've tasted a lot of wines, and blah blah blah, and I've done so many blind tastings, and I love wine, etc." So he said, "You know, these labels are the worst labels I've seen in my life, and they don't. These wines do not deserve these labels." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay." And then he says, "You know what? This is gonna be the end of your career." And I left the winery devastated about this, and thinking how these people will move on, if they're gonna get bankrupt because of me. If anyway, many thoughts. So months passed and years passed. We moved to even more clean approaches like this one. This is the Yanoudi red indigenous grape variety. You can see on this one, I saw in some wines in Europe, natural wines, low intervention wines, they don't use capsules. So I proposed them, we don't use a capsule. And in the beginning, they tried to get some feedback from clients, and the feedback was really bad, like what the people will say when they see in the restaurant a wine without the capsule. But the capsule, it doesn't mean anything apart from a decorative thing. It doesn't mean anything for the wine. It doesn't protect the wine, as many people might think. It's just there. So for a winery, cutting this down is not only the cost, but it looks, it gives a more sustainable approach to its philosophy. Anyway, we became friends with Andreas, and we did many interesting projects on the way. This was an oak aged Sivania, the spirit we have here in Cyprus. And we also did some sweet wines. We took pictures of many endemic plants that there are on this terroir, and then we made those illustrations to show the variety of the flora up there. And we came to a point where Andreas was really actually, he's a man that dares. He doesn't, if something goes into his mind, he doesn't look back, and he was always, whatever you want to do, just tell me and we proceed. So then came this micro-vinifications project, which is actually a project his sons do in the indigenous varieties of Cyprus. And we did this like short stories of that have to do with the winery and their everyday life. Like, for instance, the first one is the mushroom. The biggest mushroom is what it's called. Is actually when the mushrooms appear in Cyprus after the rains, like around December, when it rains, because now it doesn't rain, they go for hunting. So whoever finds the biggest mushroom, he's actually the winner. And the next one is a friend of the winery, and then the village, and so on. So we went to the second year again with the same skeptic. And this was a kind of dream project for me, because I gathered friends and colleagues and assigned to them for each one story to depict on the label with complete freedom. And I was thinking that without Andreas and his vision, this wouldn't have happened from the first place. So today we just released the third year also. And we are really happy about it. And it's actually, I'm thinking that the freedom that Andreas gives is something very important. So throughout these projects and many others, I'm thinking that out of those you get valuable insight. Every project is like an experience for me. For sure, not every project is the same and it's nice, but there are projects that are really great experiences that bring along with them friendships and memories and really valuable things and stories to tell. I think many of us, most of us, have similar stories to tell in their lifetime as a designer, and it's like this is like the form of communication you actually get from the communication you offer to your clients. So I think I'm finished. Thank you. I can't hear you. I hope you are hearing me all this time.
Yes, we did.
Okay, now I hear you.
Marius, I actually thank you earlier for your brilliant and creative work, and said that you are very lucky because maybe your clients can pay you off with their products and services, enjoying luxury hotels and good wine. And we thank you again as well. And we move now to our last but not least speaker from Cyprus, Άγγελος Παναγίδης, who will talk about That Wasn't the Plan. Angelos Panagidis is a graphic designer and academic in the Department of Multimedia and Graphic Arts at the Cyprus University of Technology. He has participated in several international design exhibitions and biennials, and his work has been acknowledged in various publications, both locally and internationally. His research interests focus also on illustration, collage, print, and the use of digital media as alternative means of expression in contemporary art. Angelos Panagidis, what was finally the plan? The screen is yours.
Hello, I can't find the share screen button, so give me a second, I will connect again.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, I will share my screen.
Thank you, Angelos.
Good evening. I'm Άγγελος Παναγίδης, and I would like to thank my dearest colleagues and organizers of TypoGraphic Days for providing me this lovely opportunity to share with you my work among these inspiring fellow designers. I'm deeply honored for the invitation, and I hope I will be useful to our viewers. This is the 5th consecutive year that I participate at this event, with the difference that I've always been behind the scenes. This is the first time, though, that I present, and the first one that we are forced to do it online. I'm sure that wasn't the plan. Whenever I go to design events, I'm constantly asking myself, who is this aimed at? What will they get? What will they getting out of it? The event audience is consisted usually of freelancers, students, and creatives forging their path in design studios, taking time out of busy schedules for the intangible benefit of recharging your passion. When design events hit the spot, you can leave them with a head full of ideas and inspiration. That's what we got from the exciting talks of Mr. Abedini, Mr. Javorek, and Mr. Karysthios. Thank you for sharing your amazing work. I hope to do so too. I title as it reflects our whole year, and also the word plan may be interpreted as design, illustration, idea, hope, ambition, intention, depending on the context. And all these are topics that I intend to present to you. That is my plan. I consider myself a little bit of a late bloomer generally. I started my studies when I was 22. Some of my students at this age are already working, graduated, or doing their MA. I hold a BA in graphic design, an MA in interactive media, video and sound arts, and I like to do acrobatic splits between graphic design, illustration, and art. My first job was in one of the leading advertising agencies in Cyprus just before my academic career set off. It offered me many valuable experiences. I joined the Cyprus creative industry and had the opportunity to manage projects from some of the most widely known international clients, brands. When I wanted to leave the security of the corporate world, I've already hit the learning curve of operating not only as a designer, but also as an entrepreneurial business owner. My older brother Michalis and I have been always discussing about doing business together, and as we have confidence in the very different qualifications of each other. And we also stopped throwing stuff at each other's head. Thank God we haven't opened the bar. It would be a total disaster. And in 2009, we founded the Think Positive Design Studio, through which I had started to build my professional portfolio. The main motivation for this move was that I could decide on the design direction of my projects with more freedom due to smooth cooperation with my brother, always taking into account, of course, that the clients in the beginning were Cypriots. And the scope of the clientele was quite wide, ranging from doctors to butchers. Think Positive allowed me to have direct contact with the creative industry of Cyprus and to experience many creative obstacles that you do not get to learn otherwise. Taking leaps across various media within applied arts and design gave me the chance to earn some international and local recognition. Think Positive allowed me to have direct contact with the creative industry of Cyprus and later on internationally, and also to experience many creative obstacles that you do not get to learn otherwise. Running your own business forces you to take a hard look at yourself, your values, and how you want to live your life. Perhaps one of the most useful outcomes, especially when you push yourself to the limits, is that you get to find what you're made of. Think Positive is a big part of my design path that started from my bedroom in my paternal home, and now it has its own space that employs our talented graduates from CUT, Savas and Danai. Both of them continue their employment since their internship. 9 years of employment have been completed as special teaching staff in the Department of Multimedia and Graphic Arts. Prior to my current employment, I have worked for another 2 years in Frederick University. During the past 11 years, my professional activities include teaching to more than 15 different subjects, covering a scope of art and design fields, including typography, graphic design, illustration, digital arts, package design, photography, you name it. I was always supporting the concept that if you surround yourself with people who share the same goal, mindset and character, you evolve into a better artist, and it can take on bigger or more interesting projects. That goes for both of my colleagues and students. As an active member of the semiotics and visual communication, I've been engaged in conferences, exhibitions, seminars, academic events, and design competition. All this experience for me is a fantastic platform for me to experiment, discover my style, my voice, and to put myself out of my comfort zone. So I will use this as a way to transcend to the part of the process of my personal work. Throughout the years, I have developed a few techniques that allow me to have a few more arrows in my quiver. I'll start with posters. Regarding the beginning of each project, I have to say that I'm no different than any of you guys. I go through a lot of research, focusing on the subject provided, and at the same time trying to figure out the visual approach. So many great books to read, so many websites, so many Instagram accounts, but I don't recommend reading only design books. I think as creatives, it's important to diversify our inspirations, as very beautifully Mr. Abedini previously demonstrated. Fine art has a huge impact on my work, such as the primitives and neo-expressionism on Jean-Michel Basquiat's paintings, the photo silk screens of Eugenio Ditborn, Baldessari's use of primary colors and collages, and Gottlieb's abstract expressionism and printmaking. Access Denied is a poster I designed for the exhibition Designing for Peace, which was under my artistic supervision of the exhibition with colleagues Dr. Zandidis and Aspasia Babadima through a collaboration about the international initiative Cartooning for Peace and the French-speaking month. One of the favorite parts of the design process is the conceptual phase. Conceptualizing this one was a collective process with my friend and fine artist Carla Ambrandes. Throughout the years, I've been developing an ever-growing collection of old magazines and postcards dating from the 1930s till the present time. I'm fascinated by the way that typesetters, designers, illustrators, and printmakers used to deal with creative challenges without the ease of today's digital technology. This archive serves not only as a valuable source of image stock, but as a great visual inspiration. Going through these magazines takes you on a historical time travel, mainly in pop culture, such as an article for the first woman in space with this cool typographic treatment, for example, and how people thought that 1965 had been the most dangerous year. Yeah, right? All this cover regarding the American elections in the 1960s with Nixon on the cover. This ridiculous Russian knitting 80s magazine came handy for another work that you will see later on. So back to the process. I scan my selected image in the highest resolution possible so I can resize and play around. Although these magazines cost peanuts, maybe 2-3 euros each, however, it feels sacrilegious to cut them into pieces. They are valuable to me. One of my main intentions of using this digital collage method, besides, of course, the joy of experimentation, is to create work with originality in terms of style and aesthetics. In simple words, I steal the crap out of these magazines in order to stay authentic. And other times, the content generates more ideas, like, for example, the use of information graphics, or stylistic decisions like these red transparent design elements. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm looking for, but ideas are being formed along the way since the research is an ongoing process, and findings like this affect the final result. It's important to mention that the intended role for the posters I'm about to show you is very specific, and so becomes the way of their communication. They're all presented in poster exhibitions, and each one serves a very specific theme. They usually work in an environment with other posters with the same topic, although each designer responds differently. Viewers, readers, visitors will have their time to read the description of the posters and have a closer look, giving them a chance to decode details that they wouldn't normally if they were placed in a different place. That's why I take the opportunity to create more layers of meaning and also add more details to the information. For example, this one, the two sides of the two-headed broken statue of Venus symbolize the current status of Cyprus, combined with the biological elements that bind us all. This is a part that I chose not to include in the description of the poster when I sent it for the exhibition, because I didn't wish to give further political dimensions. Also, later on, I realized that subconsciously, I may have been influenced by the fact that I was designing this with a broken arm, and it has been in a cast. Therefore, I was a broken statue myself at the time. Poster confirmation bias is one of my latest participations as an invited designer and was exhibited at Emirates International Poster Festival during Design Week past November. Past November 2019. The process here is similar, as you can see, plus the use of my hand-rendered poem. Sometimes I feel the need for a human gesture in my work. The poster is now part of the Culture and Science Association permanent poster collection. Here's another example of hand-rendered text in my composition. That was for an invitation by a dear friend, fellow designer, who intended to feature my work in a spread of his publication he was planning to print. Things didn't go as planned for him, unfortunately. It features a few scientific references related with time, which, if my memory serves me well, that was a topic about. I love science, and you may find visual references around it in some of my work, such as this poster, where I use the phenomenon of diffraction as a metaphor to address the distortion of reality. The topic of the second international conference and exhibition of semiotics and visual communication was culture of seduction. The topic of another poster exhibition was dealing with environmental pollution. I participated with the poster The Anthropocene. The biennial was organized by the United Design Alliance, and the poster was exhibited and published in Korea. For that period of time, this is the method I like to work with, and I wanted to find out if this could work commercially. The plan here was to tailor my portfolio to get the ideal job. I wanted clients to want to have this. There's a cheesy late 80s film called Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner, where farmer hearing voices interprets them as a command to build a baseball diamond in his fields. He does, and the 1919 Chicago White Sox come. If you build it, he will come. I totally embrace this concept. And it did. It came in the form of packaging design for a series of organic olive products, such as olive oil, olive paste, and olives, of course. So I started using this collage aesthetic into the first project that I decided that it could be appropriate. And in order to do that, I based the whole visual identity of the product on this aesthetic. I have to tell you that my initial proposals were much braver than the final product. Nonetheless, the result wasn't too conservative either. This time, the images were all mine. I took photographs of olives, branches, and leaves from my own olive tree in my backyard. At the same time, I was approached by Mr. Haris Kyriakidis, a man with a rich literary work with an emphasis on the Cyprus issue, both in terms of its historical aspects and current events, with a career as a lawyer and a politician, and as an editor in the weekly newspaper Kypros, Cyprus. This assignment was about the design of a second and revised edition book, Esgin and Alian Eonios Apigian, meaning in a land of the sea, eternally a colony. The title is inspired by a poem of Greek poet Seferis, who remembers the tale of Dephros and Eleni, who was not in Troy during the war, but in Egypt, according to the tragedian Euripides. In the subtitle, Eternally Colony refers not only to the area, the sea-loving Cyprus of Seferis, but also to everything in its long history that led to struggles, intrigues, double crossing, and backstage. So in our second meeting, Mr. Kyriakidis, following an agreement on my schedule and my pay, brought a huge stack of A4s stating while chain smoking that we can get started. This stack of A4s was the book. I panicked and I asked him if the file existed somewhere in an electronic form, and to my great relief, he confirmed that it exists. So I exhaled the air I was holding in my anxiety. I didn't have to type the whole book. He had given me the complete creative freedom, and we had discussed from the beginning all the printing possibilities about the cover and the interior, flu patterns, embossing, spot UV, the choice of a good paper. He told me not to worry since the printer house belongs to his cousin and we would have no technical obstacles. Complete creative freedom is not always positive, as every graphic designer knows, especially if the client has no guidelines at all, or if we do not match aesthetically. The first creative challenge was defining the size of the book. Among these standard book sizes, I defined my own size, taking into account various parameters such as the number of pages, how I thought the page would be legible, and how ergonomic it would be in my hands. All this, of course, considering to be very economic with the use of space. I came up with a size slightly smaller than the crown octavo. Octavo is a Latin word meaning in eighth. An octavo is a book or pamphlet made up of one or more full sheets, for example, A2 paper, on which 16 pages of text were printed, which were then folded 3 times to produce 8 leaves. Each leaf of an octavo book represents 1/8 the size of the original sheet. Octavo is also used as a general description of the size of books that are about 8 to 10 inches, approximately A4, and as such does not necessarily indicate the actual printing format of the books, which may even be unknown as the case of many modern books. As Jean-Luc Godard sees himself as an organizer of image and sound, I consider myself as an organizer of image and letter. And to do that, I once again required the assistance of Jan Chicholt and Robert Brinkhurst in order to be able to move on with the typographic applications and create rhythm and proportions that fit the content of the book. And although the content's volume wasn't enormous, it had several variations that needed to be organized methodically and required a system to serve them all. And I created my rules so everything coexists harmonically into the same written page and have the desirable, even and flexible texture that scribes called it a textus, which means cloth. Brinkhurst mentions that typographer is to the text as the theatrical director to the script, or the musician to the score. You must read the text before designing it. And so I did. The next thing you need to do after you comprehend the content is to analyze and map it. There must be a visible relationship between the text and other elements such as captions, tables, diagrams, pictures, notes, etc. All these layered with chapter heads, section heads, footnotes, and all these layers and levels of the text that must be consistent. Verse, for example, is usually set flush left and ragged right, and verse quotations within prose should not be deprived of their chosen form. To distinguish verse quotations from surrounding prose, they should be indented or centered on the longest
I'm afraid we lost Angelos in his very inspiring talk at the moment. Maybe we can wait for a while again.
Hello? I will share my screen again. Can you tell me which part did I stay?
We saw this one, Angelos, and this the one with the stack with A4. Yeah, we did see this one as well. And proceed.
It's one you've seen.
Yeah. Go forward. One more. One more. One more, please. I think you were. Keep moving. Another one. Yeah, this one. You were here.
Okay. So similar incidental details require full typographic attention. The simplest way of defining your line length and choose a comfortable measure is also to check out this copy fitting table like this one from Brinker's The Element of Typographic Style. Nevertheless, the table is indicated because the lowercase Greek characters are fewer and the letter forms are more rounded. Some people, including the author of the book, stuff extra space between sentences, so that took an extra amount of time to remove it. That is a Victorian habit from the 19th century that many compositors were encouraged to do. The green line, that is the United Nations buffer zone in Cyprus, took that name because the then commander of the British forces in Cyprus, General Young, drew it with a green pencil on the map. In 1963, after an agreement between Greeks, Turks, and British, where the first serious intercommunal riots broke out. I should also mention here that the cover and the back cover were also structured in the same grid. The fluorescent green lines you see on the cover are all the division scenarios for Cyprus from 1956 to 1974. The images used are again from my precious old and used magazines. Due to the author's personal misfortunes and the painfully bad management, the book's production went down like a lead balloon. But as long as the project was in my control, I managed to keep for myself a tiny number of copies just to take a few pictures for my portfolio. No deadlines, no restrictions, no unnecessary toxic judgment. I use side projects to put myself out of my comfort zone in an effort to discover my style and my voice. But also I need this voice to say something important and take a stand to what I believe in. I ask for a lot of liberties. The liberty to act like a jester, a sort of freedom that has more to do with an insatiable quest for knowledge than with the elitist bigotry. I'm a true devotee to craftsmanship, and I'm trying to keep traditional techniques alive. At uni, with the assistance of highly skilled technicians, we set up printmaking lab. Shout out to everyone involved. I experiment with various illustration techniques and printing continuously. That was the plan for 2020. For me, drawing is a form of search. The search that is probably preconditional to all forms of creative work. In this search that leads us from one stroke or shape to the next stroke, one thing leads to another. It is a wonderful way of being close to oneself and people you like. This is the kind of holy moment I'm looking for. One should always keep one's eyes on the nearest thing and not look too far ahead. As the learning process of a child takes a lot of patience, drawing takes a lot of patience too. Impatience is like a poison for creativity. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the word plan can take the meaning of hope. And I'm planning to do a lot of things for the new year. See you at my studio in 2021. Thank you and Merry Christmas and stay safe.
Thank you very much as well for your professional structured presentation with excellent examples based on concepts and fascinating execution. I hope Reza can join us again. I think he might hear us. I'm not sure if he's around. His screen is black. But this is the moment where we can accept any questions from the audience, any comments from the audience. If the people who are watching us would like to address any form of comments or observations and ask our four wonderful presenters of the 5th TypoGraphic Days 2020, we are very happy to handle the questions. Andreas, when we are discussing this matter, I understand we might have questions in the various chat rooms, and please let us know if there are any from the audience.
There are a lot of comments in YouTube. They're saying hello to the team, amazing work. Thank you so much for the inspiration, Mr. Reza. Very inspiring work. There are claps, there are thumbs up. Thank you, great stories, great works, incredible work. I would love to hang out at the Think Positive bar. A lot of hearts. There's a lot of love shared through YouTube. And as for the Facebook, to be honest, there are... Yes, please.
I don't feel all of those loves, so I need to feel it.
People are sharing it with you in YouTube.
Maybe Andreas can take snapshots and send it to the speakers later.
Yes, of course we can do that for sure. As an email with the comments and with the stats.
Okay.
People are sharing it with you in YouTube.
Maybe if a question comes up, please let us know. Meanwhile, what in Italy discussing for a while is something very expected because of the days. It's a very common question that everyone asks these days. And I am wondering, what are the challenges you are facing in your work because of the pandemic? How has this situation influenced your profession? And
actually, it's a very interesting question.
Mario, let us know.
As you know, it depends on the business. Most businesses are sort of money. So if your clients are into this kind of business, then you're in trouble too. If your client is a supermarket, maybe you have work. I think it goes on something like this. For sure, everyone is really affected, and yeah, it affects all of us. I mean, I'm joking about the supermarket, but for sure it's affecting everybody.
So, how was the video communication in respect of the COVID situation? How did the advertising campaigns work in Slovakia, Peter? How did people, did they design a campaign to protect the public health system? Was that successful? Or maybe in Iran, Reza Abedini?
I don't know, and I last 10 months I sit in my studio and I now check in newspapers and nothing about Corona, and I worked and teach and last 10 months. Sorry, I don't more information about Corona in Slovakia.
We here in Cyprus had some good posters, some very strange posters without clear messages. Angelos, I'm not sure if you're aware of that. in the way that COVID here in posters with the church mainly, but without specifying
Yes.
who the client.
Are you referring to the billboards we see on the streets?
Yes, some strange billboards thanking God for COVID.
Yeah, this is a very weird kind of communication, and to let our international viewers know what these billboards are about. During the pandemic, we've seen in a lot of places billboards after all the work that hospitals and medical people offer to science and to the rest of the people. We have seen billboards saying, "Thank you, church, for doing that. Thank you for keeping us safe." And we could all see the doctors scratching their heads because no poster prior to that had been done about thanking doctors. Sorry, Mr. Reza, Mr. Abedini.
No, I was just saying, actually, I can understand the doctors, actually. They're doing lots of efforts, and people, they thank God.
Yes. So, to be honest, I wasn't so shocked or surprised because people are religious, and it's people who ask to see this. Same people who, of course, I don't judge religion. I don't judge. I respect all religions. I respect all the all the people of all faith. But in the other hand, a lot of people felt a little bit that the people of medicine didn't get enough gratitude, and also the communication. I mean, as a visual, in the visual aspect, if we're when you drive and you see this spectacle, it's not so great either. It's a bit shocking.
I haven't seen these Angelos. Where are they?
Because I wanted to
on the streets of Lima,
and the role of the graphic designer to organize the information and put the right information on a poster for the communication of the correct message that comes from a specific client and goes to specific audiences. But we have some questions anyway already in the chat here. And what seems to be a question for Angelos is, from where did you get the inspiration to draw the president and all the presidents with this style? It reminds of zombies. And building on that, and the way that the church is dealing with political messages, in your work, Angelos, did you have any reactions because of the political dimensions that they take?
Yes, of course, I have reactions. Actually, people that they don't have anything to do with art or design may have seen my work regarding the politicians, and they were upset because when they are very attached to these people, they feel that you do something sacrilegious, that it insults their beliefs. But actually, it's not an insult to the political ideology. It's an insult directly to their political scenes, let's say. And yes, it's very. They are zombies. They are zombies. It's the project began to. Was named the land of the walking dead. The dead meaning owning a lot of money. So we are the land of the walking dead. We owe a lot of money to a lot of people, and our politicians are accountable for this. Yes. So where did I get this style from? Actually, the examples I showed in my presentation were, I get my inspiration from fine artists and these magazines that I get from. Actually, my friend Evribidis is actually responsible for making me start this collection when he went for a trip and he brought me one of these used magazines, and I fell in love with the whole aesthetics, and I got into it very fast. I started buying these magazines. For example, I don't know if you can see.
Nostalgic, 70s.
You can see the amazing typography. Yeah. And the illustrations that designers used to have without the use of the digital technology. This is where I got it from. Thank you for the question.
Okay, a lot of people are asking what advice would you give for new designers? Maybe Reza can tell us what he thinks. What advice would you give to new graphic designers, new board designers?
It's a bit it's a bit weird to advise young designers, actually, because every single human being, they need to find their own way to find out what is good for them. So advice mostly is based on your own experience, but in general, I would say, again, I really want to make sure this is based on my own experience, but the point is, what we're doing, it's not a job. It's totally passion, and you need to dedicate 100%. You need to choose between really hard life or normal life and have a graphic design as a side thing. So I would just say 100%. If you want to choose this life, make sure that you are ready for it.
Couldn't agree more, Reza. Maybe Peter would like to share your thoughts.
Yes, I think it's for a new designer is only more and more working. That's it for me.
Well, it's a lot of work, and it's not an easy job. Very often, people misinterpret that design and art is something that you can get on easily with, but at the same time, it's a highly demanding artistic and creative process that can also take scientific dimensions. Marie, your experience to new designers?
I think Reza covered us at the most. He has more experience, I think, of all of us in the room. I just want to say that, yeah, for sure, hard work, and you insist on what you do. Don't go back, just do what you like to do, and just wait. You have to wait. You cannot see results very, very soon.
Yes. Going back to Reza Abedini, with your students, how easy or difficult is for the young generation, the young students, to appreciate the local culture and derive inspiration from tradition? Because most of your work has its roots in Persian calligraphy, Persian tradition. Is it something that the new generation embraces as well easily? Do they understand the importance and validity of this approach?
Yeah, unfortunately, my connection is not good enough, but I'm guessing I understood your question. Actually, I used to teach in Tehran University for living in Iran. So I was trying to make a clear image for the students in the beginning of each course, to tell them why I'm trying to tell you this is important. But during those years that I wasn't in Iran, when I came back, I realized the general approach to graphic design in Iran goes back to the imitating Western design, which is not a bad thing. But in the same time, I go back to my presentation about talking about the origin. What is original? So now I stayed in Iran. I reopened my studio. I tried to work again here in Iran, and you know, because in general, I think what is happening in the world is not just about Iran or other countries. So while I was in Netherlands, for example, also I would feel this huge attack of, let's say, cheap visual culture, even in Netherlands, which is one of the most important design style in 20th century. So it's not something just about Iran or other European country. It's something happening in general, actually. So I would ask a question from all of us, like, what was the most inspiring movie you watched last 10 years compared to 20 years ago? You see, I don't want
Does
to
it
be
go
negative
for
and
everyone?
just be like, I'm sorry?
Yes, Angelos.
Is this question
Yes,
is this question rhetorical or? Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
I'm asking. Just I'm asking everyone. I mean, I'm not really trying to be negative here, but I feel like the level of the culture going down somehow. So all of us are really like, we have this nostalgic feeling about modernism, right? So if you look at the 20, 30 years ago, we have lots of amazing filmmakers, musicians, graphic designers, painters, and everything was very clear. We had a clear line between what is cheap and what is not. But now it's so hard because of the situation, because of the new definition of art, new definition of design. everything is really messed up somehow. I'm not saying there's no art anymore, of course, but finding a good art and good design nowadays is so hard.
Yes, I agree with Reza. The globalization effect, disadvantage that messes up everything, and there are no clear criteria anymore on defining the right design and the bad design. Also, we are not experiencing enough books anymore, and the libraries are not like they used to be popular. So a lot of the information that goes in the digital mediums is not very valid, or many people who don't have the criteria to judge what is a very good example, or an article to read and study. But our host is placing the question on the left of the screen. You can read them there. Question for Reza. The shapes are globally recognizable, so they can be easily identified. However, how can a local screen can be addressed to an international audience without misinterpretations?
Yeah, actually, this is a very smart question, because what I said could mean wrongly as if I'm trying to say whoever wants to design or be an artist needs to be local. That's not what I said. What I'm saying is be born in a particular situation, and you cannot really ignore that because you're raised and you learn things that is not really common with other people. Yes. And then you need to grow up to understand other people and find the common things between human beings. And this shouldn't be dictated by one kind of culture. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? For example, when we enjoy we enjoy looking at the Chinese prints or Japanese prints, for example, so we need to consider this as a part of the visual culture in the world, and don't put it aside as like this is not a mainstream.
Of course, yes, yes.
Yes.
Any other questions, Andreas, from the chat or that we cannot see for Angelo? Having experienced censorship in artistic expression in Cyprus, how do you see or feel of a possible exhibition of political zombies poster series?
On the news.
To be honest, the truth is that I haven't experienced censorship, which is a good thing, but I have experienced bitterness, and that's a good thing. If there is a reaction, that means that it works, and that's the whole point. Now, regarding the future exhibition, that is the plan.
Okay.
Most probably, I started some experimentations with screen printing, various layers and risographs, but it's a work in progress.
We have a question asking if you have a specific ritual or process in creating a design. I'm not sure to whom is the question for.
It's probably for everyone, as I understand.
Sorry. Yeah, whoever can answer. Go.
I do have a lot of OCDs if you're asking. I'm sharpening a lot of pens.
There's no formula, but yes.
I think there is no formula, at least on my mind, in our age. And I think maybe the thing which is really, really difficult to do is to spend some time off the screens and read some books and slow down a bit, which is impossible. While Reza was giving his presentation, I thought of a book which I brought here to show him at some point, and now I think is the time, which a friend of mine brought from Iran.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
Great. Yes.
This is, I think, for me, inspiration, which is on my bookshelf, and I haven't checked it many times because, you know, everything is so rushed in our lives, and we miss the things that really can give us inspiring moments and stuff to do the creative process.
Right.
I also have a very nice book here from Slovakia. It is also a fantastic book, that a lot of care and graphic design concrete knowledge. And I wanted to ask Peter about your work. It's very minimal and very intellectual and very precise on the message. How do your clients respond to this minimalistic work? Because people often like a lot of things and huge things and lots of colors and noisy layouts and suggestions, but your work is so minimal. Are you having difficulties to convince your clients about your style?
Yes, I have.
I know English is not your native language, and we understand the difficulties.
It's very hard to persuade client.
We fight often. We fight often.
We fight often.
And all the logos are in my drawers.
Yes, we understand. We understand the.
It's difficult, but
your work is very specific and has its own visual language. And it's very daring, and we congratulate you. I personally for this wonderful work that you've shown. Mario, you've worked with people from Cyprus and with people from Greece and other countries. Have you seen any cultural differences in the way that people approach you? And it has two dimensions. My question in respect of appreciate good design, appreciating the importance of typography and graphic communication, knowledge in the projects, and the way you have the freedom to express ideas, and how acceptable are in the differences, in the different audiences that you are working with.
Okay. I don't want to judge the clients, but because it's the first and easiest thing we usually do. For sure, clients in Cyprus are a little bit more difficult, and this is because they have not been exposed in too much of design. In Greece, the clients have been exposed a little bit more, so they've seen things they want to that they've seen. To be honest, most of my clients are from Greece, and I have fewer clients that are from Cyprus. And this has to do just with what people get from everywhere. If somebody has spent time, I don't know, and seen a lot of stuff in design, then he appreciates. So it's a really personal thing, I believe. Because you might find two clients only from Cyprus, and they are really design savvy, and that actually doesn't show you how this kind of demographic is, you know.
Yes, and you can see on the chart on the left, what would you advise people? Again, they are looking for experience directions in respect of opening a creative venture. Now they want to start up a studio or a business, something that helps you to evolve in your first steps as a freelancer designer. Angelos, before you get into academia.
Well, if you're asking me about business, then I don't think you're asking the appropriate person, although I have experience. As I mentioned, I hit the learning curve of running an enterprise, running a business before I go into the university. It depends a lot on the timing, and actually now I see the parenthesis, especially with this pandemic. You need to be open to opportunities, and also what I used to do in the beginning is that I didn't say no, so that allowed me to meet more people. It allowed me to go to the next step and to the next step and to the next step. This was my tactic in the beginning, but eventually, as you grow, you get to produce more quality work. Then it's actually your work that talks more than you do. So people get to know your work, and word to mouth. But unfortunately, I believe that I'm not the appropriate person to advise about business, especially now with the pandemic. I admire all my fellow designers that they're freelancers or working on in advertising agencies, and they have to put up through all this situation. So shout out to all these people.
Yes, I suppose so. And maybe Reza Abedini, how do you see the future of the poster with this within this digital era we are experiencing for many years now? What do you think the future of the print poster will be?
Yeah. Actually, there is a beautiful saying about posters. It says, we designers, we are designing posters because we just love posters. There is no function for the posters anymore.
As long as there are graphic designers, poster will be designed, probably.
Yeah, yeah. But
is the air that designers breathe.
That's right.
And
no, actually, no. Right now, actually, I'm doing the identity and the whole campaign for a documentary film festival at the moment, and they asked me to design more than 10 posters for them. And my first questions was, why you want to print 10 posters? I mean, why you want to waste that much paper just to print posters for what? So then we agreed on to design the motion posters for Instagram and just make some images for social media. So still, I mean, it's hard to call it posters anymore because it could be anything else, because posters has very clear definition. These are not poster anymore. When you look at them like this size in your mobile phone, they're not poster anymore.
They're just a small image. It's a different medium and a different scale. It's a very different scale.
Right. So I would say poster nowadays has become like a nostalgic idea about something sometimes we like to have it.
Well, hopefully not, because as long as there are cultural events, concerts, theater plays, people walking in the streets, the communication of messages will not stop, either print or digital. It's just the medium changing. Angelos, maybe the question on the chat concerns you regarding the collection of magazines. In what sectors do you choose them?
Well, I go every time I travel, and I miss traveling since the pandemic, but every time I travel, I go to shops with used books section and used magazines and all these flea markets, and you get to find treasures there. How I just go through the pages, and if I see something I like, I just choose the magazine. There are no specific sectors in my collection. I mean, you can find knitting magazines in Russian. You can find porn magazines from the 70s that they're not really porn, just show women with swimming suits. But there is amazing typography there. You can see, I usually, I go through the magazines. It's also a process. It's a part of the process. I like this process. It's a part of my journey. It's part of my trip. So I don't choose a sector, I choose a flea market.
Great, great. Any form of source as an inspiration is always valuable. I agree. I mean, this is something common that everyone had in this presentation, you know, the visual research in paintings, in films, in magazines, and in the cinema especially are always grateful sources for inspiration and style and aesthetics from the great masters. Was there ever a point in your career where you thought that it was all too much? Pressure, work, amount, etc. Or was everything perfect? If yes, how did you cope with that? This is a utopian question, but maybe Mario would like to collaborate on it.
You don't want to give a negative answer to this one and make people step away, but I don't know, all the time. And it's completely different kind of pressure. Like when I was working in advertising, the pressure was a different kind of pressure than now that I run my own studio, where I have to think of other things. And probably you guys at the university have to think some other things, and so on. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure. And how do you cope with that? I don't know.
If you
it's something
don't mind.
Can I answer that?
Can you please repeat?
Yeah, the last time in my career that I thought it was too much pressure, work, amount, all this is a very good question. It was like 2 months ago. And, you know, we all have a peak of the pressure at some point. I would just tell you how I coped with that. As Mario said very well, is to create some space for your time to read a book, to stay off the screen, I don't know, what exercise. And the last book I read was a book written by a Buddhist monk, and it helped me a lot, actually. It doesn't have anything to do, again, with faith, but it has to do with a state of mind. So, yeah. This is what I did.
Great. And this Buddhist thought could be, you know, a nice way to finish the event this year, unless you have anything to say or add to the people who are listening to us. Or Andreas, if you have anything else from the audience. I would like to
we covered all the questions that we had in YouTube. So yeah.
Yes, allow me to thank you again deeply from our heart, and we are very grateful that you spent time to prepare these presentations and share it with us in Cyprus. It's a shame we cannot be here all together physically and take away this frustration that is caused by the digital and the internet connection. However, we need to be safe and positive that this pandemic will reach its end soon. Therefore, we look forward to organize the event again next year in the university with physical presence. Thank you very much for your time and your presentations. I wish you all a safe and healthy Christmas holidays. and I hope to meet soon in another physical place. Usually, as Angelo said, at the end of this event, we go to a bar and we have, some wine and alcohol. And we hope to do it in the near future soon. Thank you.
Yeah.
Andreas, we just now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Goodbye from Limassol, Cyprus. It's been a pleasure.
Bye. Thank you.
Great.